Moving to the UK can be an exciting and life-changing experience, offering a new personal and professional growth opportunities that can significantly enrich your life. However, the transition is often challenging, and many migrants here in the UK make avoidable mistakes that can complicate their new lives here in the UK and lead to missed opportunities due to the lack of the correct information. That is why it is vital to empower yourself with the knowledge of common pitfalls migrants make here in the UK and learn how to avoid them for a smooth and successful transition into British society. With that said, in this video, I will discuss 16 common mistakes migrants make when they relocate to the UK and how to avoid them for a smooth transition. You see, making a big move like relocating to the UK can be daunting, but it does not have to be. You can set yourself up for success and enjoy your new adventure with the correct information. So the first common pitfall migrants make here in the UK is indecisiveness. Now, when some foreign nationals move to the UK, they remain undecided about their long-term plans, wavering between settling permanently here in the UK or relocating to another country like Canada, the US, or Australia, or even returning to their home country. You see, this indecisiveness can lead to missed opportunities such as investing in property, career progression, or establishing a stable life here in the UK, because it really takes time to establish a stable life when you relocate to a new country. And indecisiveness can actually delay you from building a stable life here in the UK, because you would keep wondering whether you want to stay or whether you want to leave the UK, and then you will not make decisions that would make you more stable here in the UK. Likewise, being indecisive may also affect your ability to plan for residency or citizenship, complicating your immigration status because you're not sure whether you want to stay or whether you want to leave the UK. This still ties back to my point of it can create instability because you will not want to make decisions fast, or you will not want to make the right decision that can help you stay in the UK because you're thinking, am I in or am I out? Now, when I first moved to the UK in 2018 for my first master's degree, yes, I have 2 UK master's degrees. So when I first moved to the UK for the first one, I made this mistake because I did not decide on whether or not I wanted to stay in the UK after my MSc was over. Now, why I was so indecisive was because then my plan was to come to the UK, get my master's degree, go back to Nigeria and access global opportunity. I knew that as a Nigerian living in Nigeria with a British education, I'll be able to access global opportunities. For instance, if global companies are coming to Nigeria, I'll be able to access those opportunities. So that was my plan. So when I moved to the UK for my first master's degree, because I wanted to get my British degree and go back to Nigeria, I didn't do the things that might make me stay back in the UK. For instance, I didn't look for a job when I was in the UK, like a permanent job that can sponsor my visa. I wasn't networking because my aim was I was going back home. Like, I wasn't doing career stuff, like engaging with the careers team of my university. Like, I wasn't making all those moves, you know, all the moves you make when you want to stay in the UK after your course of study, right? I wasn't doing that because I wanted to go back home. But towards the end of my degree, I was not thinking like, I think I want to stay in the UK because I do have an underlying medical condition, and for the very first time, I actually received one of the best healthcare I have in my entire life. And I was thinking that if I go back to Nigeria, to be fair, money cannot really buy the quality of healthcare I had received in the UK, because growing up, my parents had good health insurance, so I could access some of the best healthcare in the whole of Nigeria. Because of the job my dad in particular had, he had a very good health insurance that covered me. But even with the best of healthcare that I have received in Nigeria, like UK's public healthcare, that's receiving healthcare from the NHS was far more superior. Now imagine if I was receiving healthcare in the private sector here in the UK. So because of that, I started considering if I wanted to stay back in the UK. And by then it was too late because I had 4 months left to leave the UK. Now, when I got back to Nigeria, my plan actually worked. 2 months when I got back to Nigeria after my first master's degree, that was in 2020, right? Yeah, 2020. I got a job in 2020 that was willing to pay me $15,000 per year. And I'll be in Nigeria working for the company remotely in Nigeria. So my plan actually worked, but then COVID happened. So when COVID happened and the whole Nigeria economy was doing somehow, I lost the job. at that point, I thought to myself, do I want to stay in Nigeria, right? And get another job that will pay me in foreign currency, that has paid me in British pounds or US dollars or maybe Canadian dollars? Or do I want to come back to the UK? And I had a conversation with my dad, and my dad was like, okay, do you want to go back to the UK or you want to stay in Nigeria? Because my dad knew I could get another global opportunity in Nigeria because I'd done it before. So he knew I could do it. But again, the health thing was a big deal. Like, it was a big deal breaker. Like, I had to be honest with myself, and I was like, okay, because of my health, I would come back to the UK. And my dad was like, fine, how do you want to come back to the UK? Now, looking for a job in Nigeria that will bring me back to the UK, like sponsor my visa, now come on a work visa, would have been difficult in my field, because then I was in media, like I was in the creative industries, and this was during COVID. And during COVID, the creative industry was heavily affected. There was no way I was going to get a sponsorship job during that time because everyone was on lockdown. So what now happened was I decided to come back to the UK and do another master's degree. So this time around, I decided to do my master's degree in a tech-related course because during COVID, I saw that most of my friends that were working in the tech industry, and my husband now, who was my fiancé then, they didn't lose their job. They could work remotely from home. So I was like, okay, I'll do a tech course. So I came back to the UK and did another tech-related degree. And now I work as a cybersecurity consultant. That's true, guys. I forgot to give you the updates. I got a promotion and I'm no more a cloud engineer. I'm no more an associate cloud engineer. I'm now a full-blown cybersecurity consultant. That gist is coming very soon. You guys should stay tuned. I'll just you guys everything that happened. So when I came back to the UK, I did my master's degree. This time around, I came with a game plan. Like, my game plan was when I come for my master's degree, when my fiancé and I got married, that's my husband, and when we got married, he will come. Since he's working in tech, he will look for a job. He will come as my dependent and look for a job that can sponsor our visas, and me, I'll focus on my degree, and after my degree, I would get a job. So that was the plan. And when we came at a perfect time, even though it was during COVID, but it was a perfect time because our game plan worked. Yeah, I have a video detailing all of that. I'll link it to this video for those of you who want to. But now that game plan cannot work for you now, because if you're doing a master's degree here in the UK, you can't come with a dependent anymore. So, but yeah, that was my game plan and it worked. And yes, my husband was able to get a job that would sponsor his skilled worker visa, and they agreed to sponsor him for 5 years. So we got the 5-year skilled worker visa, and then I was his dependent. And to God be the glory, we are coming to the end of that skilled worker visa. Very soon we'll be applying for our indefinite leave to remain, and hopefully after that we would apply for our British citizenship. So basically, when I came the second time to the UK, I came with a game plan because now I wasn't indecisive. Like, I made up my mind that I'm coming to the UK and I'm coming to stay and get my permanent residency and get my citizenship. So I came with a game plan, and I upskilled, reskilled. If you want to know how I did the whole transition into tech, I will leave the playlist to this video for those who are interested in watching it. Trust me, I got you guys with all the juicy information of how to live a high quality life here in the UK. So let's move on. To avoid the mistake of you being indecisive of whether you want to leave the UK or relocate to another country or move back to your home country, take the time to evaluate your long-term goals and consider the advantages and the disadvantages of staying in the UK versus returning to your home country or relocating to another country. And when it comes to relocating to another country, trust me, don't say one country is better than one country. Just pick a country and stick with it, and stick with any struggles that country has. I don't know if you get what I mean, because there is no perfect country. UK, the way there's a cost of living crisis, we have different wahala going on in the UK. Same thing in Canada and same thing in America. So just choose a country you like and just stick with that country irrespective of what happens. For instance, if you say you want to get your British passport here in the UK as a foreign national, and you get a British passport, you can decide to go to either America, Australia, or Canada, or any country you want, and still do the process all over again. Like, finish one before jumping to another. But if you know that, yeah, UK is not my thing, I need to go to another country, all well and good. But just pick a country and stick with it. Another thing you can do is to reflect on your career aspirations, family needs, and overall quality of health. Once you have made a decision, commit to it by taking steps towards either a UK permanent residency, preparing to return to your home country, or relocating to another country. Another thing you can consider is your health. Like I mentioned earlier in the video, because of my health condition, a country like Canada, where it's very cold, might not be suitable for me because of my health condition. And a country like America might not be suitable for me because it would be expensive for me to get health insurance in America, unless if I have like a solid job in America that will give me good health care insurance, because health insurance and healthcare system is quite expensive in America. And I knew this. That's why from the onset I even chose to come and do my master's degree in UK, because I know that once I pay my IHS fees when applying for the visas here in the UK, I'll be fine. I can access healthcare and I'll be well taken care of. So those are things to consider. Like, consider your personal circumstances when you're choosing a country you want to relocate to. Not because a country is the hottest country now that everybody's moving to, or a country is that trendy country on TikTok that everybody's moving to. Trust, I don't know. Now, I don't know what country is trending on TikTok because I've never done TikTok. I'm just using it for example. Just pick a country that works best for your personal circumstances and know why you are in that country or what you want to get out of being in that country. Now, what I'm trying to tell you guys from all this episode is that having a game plan will help you avoid this pitfall of being indecisive, and it will also help you focus your efforts and make the most of your time here in the UK. So let's say your plan is to come to the UK, get a master's degree and apply for Canada PR, because you can easily get a student visa to study your master's degree here in the UK and get foreign exposure that would help you with your PR application. Then do that and know that that's your game plan. Like, maximize the foreign exposure you will get in the UK. Like, when you're doing your master's degree, do your internship to get some work experience that would help you with your Canada PR. Don't get carried away with UK when you're studying. No, that's not your game plan. Canada was your game plan. You're just coming here to do your master's degree and then you jack back to Canada. So be focused, be decisive. Now, the second mistake is having a child. Now, having a child is a blessing, don't get me wrong, but hear me out. Now, immediately after moving to the UK, while some people are still unstable, they will decide to have a child as soon as they move to the UK without fully understanding childcare challenges in the UK, or as a result of false information. Like, people will tell them, oh, once you have a child in the UK, your child will be a British citizen, or to secure a permanent residency, or you'll be able to access benefit and public funds. That is a big fat lie. Because giving birth to a child as a foreign national living in the UK on a visa does not mean you would automatically be entitled to benefits or public funds. Likewise, it does not mean that because you had your child here in the UK as a foreign national living in the UK on a visa, you would automatically become a British citizen, or you'll be able to secure a permanent residence permit because you give birth to a child here in the UK. Nah, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way because here in the UK, for a child to be given British citizenship, that child must have one parent that is a British citizen or that has indefinite leave to remain. So if you are a foreign national living in the UK on a visa, and you and your partner, none of you have indefinite leave to remain, or none of you are British citizen, your child is not going to be a citizen, or neither would the child secure you indefinite leave to remain. You have to wait. Like, if you are using your 10-year route, use your 10 years route to get your indefinite leave to remain or your citizenship. If you're on a 5 years route, you wait on your 5 years route to get your indefinite leave to remain as citizenship with your child. So when you get permanent status, your child will get permanent status. That's how it works. So having a child immediately after you move to the UK and you're not financially stable will just add significant stress, especially when you're adjusting to the new healthcare system, legal requirements, and the financial demands of relocating to a new country. So to avoid this mistake, consider delaying having a child until you are fully settled, financially stable, and familiar with the UK's healthcare system and support system, and you understand how the UK works. Like, your life in the UK is now stable. That's when you should consider having a child. Don't have a child because you think having a child here in the UK would enable you to access public funds or benefits, or having a child here in the UK means that you would have permanent status here in the UK. I've already told you, it doesn't work that way. And again, as foreign nationals, if you decide to have a child here in the UK with either your partner or with your spouse, and both of you are foreign nationals, remember that when you're applying for visa, you have to apply for that child. And we all know that visa fees and the IHS fees are not cheap here in the UK. So you also have to think of the visa applications you have to make for that child. So if you're a foreign national who just relocated to the UK, think twice before having a child. Now, the second mistake would lead us nicely into the third mistake, which is not understanding how public funds or benefits work here in the UK. Now, public funds or benefit refers to financial assistance provided by the government to eligible individuals here in the UK. So migrants here in the UK might mistakenly believe that they are entitled to certain benefits or public funds, or may not know the rules surrounding like benefit claims or public funds, and then they'll mistakenly go and access it. This mistake can lead to legal issues such as being penalized for incorrect benefit claims or financial difficulties due to overestimating the benefits you are entitled to here in the UK. Like when you're moving to the UK, you think, oh yes, the UK, I'll be entitled to benefits, so that would help me subsidize my cost of living. No, it doesn't work that way. Foreign nationals here in the UK are not entitled to public funds and they are not entitled to benefit. In short, on your BRP, they'll write it there, no records to public funds. So that is why you need to understand the UK's rules and eligibility criteria for public benefits to avoid this mistake. Now, if you're a foreign national living here in the UK on a visa, before claiming benefits or public funds in the UK, for any reason at all, whether it's financial difficulties or whether you think you're entitled to it, maybe maternity pay or stuff like that, seek advice from reputable sources or consult a welfare advisor to ensure you comply with the UK laws. Like if you're a foreign national living in the UK and there's anything that has to do with applying for funds from the government, just be wary about it. Like tread carefully when it comes to things like that. Seek professional advice to be sure if it's public fund or if it's benefits, and if you as a foreign national, you can access it, because when the repercussion comes, they will not want to hear, I did not know. Ignorance is not bliss in the UK. The fourth mistake is not saving enough money for subsequent visa applications. Now, I see this mistake a lot, especially on social media, where there's always like a GoFundMe, or people are pleading for money and stuff like that. Now, when you're coming to the UK, one thing we all know is that UK visa renewals and application can be expensive. Like we all know this. Many immigrants do not save adequately for this cost, leading to financial stress or jeopardizing their legal status. For example, if you're an international student coming to study a one-year master's degree here in the UK, and your plan is that when you're done with your course of study, you will apply for the PSW visa. Now, when you are coming to the UK, you had a whole year on your student visa before your PSW visa. What happened throughout that 1 year? Why couldn't you work to be able to save for your PSW visa? Or why didn't you start telling people earlier that you would need money for your PSW visa? Or why didn't you even start your fundraising, like your GoFundMe, earlier? I've seen GoFundMe accounts for UK visa application where the person doing the GoFundMe has like days before their visa would expire to raise a certain amount of money to pay for their visa. Like in my head, I'm always wondering, when you were on your previous visa, you knew that you were going to extend your visa. Like you knew this. It wasn't that you woke up one morning and then the next day you need to apply for visa and you didn't have money. Like, no, you knew you were going to stay in the UK. Why didn't you start the GoFundMe since? You're not putting pressure on us to help you share, help you raise money, help you do that. So, no. I'm not even against having a GoFundMe to raise visa application fee. Things happen. I'm not even against it. What I'm against is having like 2 days, 11 days before your visa expires, then you now start a GoFundMe campaign. Like, what were you doing for the last 1 year? Like, I'm not even against raising money. You can raise money for anything. You can open a GoFundMe account for anything. But please, always do it early. You had months, you even had years to know that you will apply for a particular visa, and then you are now coming to stress us. Quarter to go. Please, let's stop that. Now, to avoid this mistake, start saving early for your visa application to ensure you have enough funds when the time comes to apply for the visa, or do your GoFundMe campaigns as early as possible. This that can help you avoid this mistake is to plan ahead by budgeting for subsequent visa applications, including the legal fees, IHS fees, and other associated costs. Now, the fifth mistake is not getting a full UK driving license early. Now, delaying the process of obtaining a UK driving license can limit your mobility and job opportunities. Don't get me wrong, the public transportation here in the UK is quite good, but to be fair, I think you would have some opportunities if you have a UK driving license, or you'll be able to maximize some opportunities if you have a full UK driving license. Now, in the UK, getting a full UK driving license can be expensive and time-consuming because you need to pay for driving lessons, you need to pay for your theory and practical tests. So to avoid this mistake, try to get your full UK driving license as soon as possible when you move to the UK. You know, when you first move to the UK, actually, you can use the driving license from your home country with the international driving license and a UK professional driving license for a year. Now, using these 3 documents to start driving in the UK will just help you familiarize yourself with the UK roads, signs, and things like that, so that you will not pay so much money when it comes to driving lessons. You will just pay for brush ups, so they won't be teaching you how to maybe drive manual or automatic or how to build road confidence. You can do that yourself because you already have the driver's license from your home country, international driver's license, and the professional UK driver's license, so you can use it to build your road confidence here in the UK. And the only reason why you're paying for driving lesson is so that you can correct your bad driving habits that you probably picked from your home country, and so that you'll be able to pass your practical driving test here in the UK faster. Like, you can do it like maybe 1 time or twice. You know, you don't have to do it like so many times like some of us. E.g. myself. Yeah. So that's why I said you should actually look into driving and getting your driver's license as soon as possible. You know, even if you don't need it immediately, having the license can be beneficial for job prospects and just day-to-day convenience, especially if you live in a part of the UK where the public transportation is not good. To be fair, when I lived in Manchester, I didn't see the reason of having a car. Like, I didn't even regret the fact that I didn't have a car in Manchester. But now that I'm living in the countryside, or more, you need a car because the bus comes out after every 30 minutes or 1 hour. Kilo day. You need a car. And that is why we had to buy a car immediately we moved to where we live now. Now, if you have watched this video to this point, it means you find this video valuable. So please give this video a thumbs up so that YouTube can recommend it to more people so that they can also benefit from the information in this video. Moving on, mistake number 6 is underestimating the cost of living here in the UK. Now, the UK, particularly cities like London, have a high cost of living. Now, some migrants here in the UK often underestimate the cost of living expenses here in the UK, such as rent, utility, transportation, and food, leading to financial difficulties. You can avoid this mistake by researching the cost of living in your chosen area before moving. Likewise, create a detailed budget that includes all potential expenses and stick to your budget. Also, consider living in a more affordable area or shared accommodation just to reduce costs. It's not compulsory you live in big cities like London, Manchester, Birmingham, or Edinburgh. You can also choose small cities or live in commuter towns. So commuter towns are like towns that are close to big cities, so you can easily commute from your small town to the big city, just so you can reduce cost. Mistake number 7 is limited understanding of the job market. Now, finding a job in the UK can be difficult, especially if your qualifications are not recognized or if you lack a good understanding of the local job market here in the UK, or if you don't have professional certifications or you don't have enough work experience. Now, to avoid this mistake, research your industry in the UK, understand the qualifications required, and consider additional training or certification if necessary. Like, you can upskill and reskill. Now, I do have a video on the channel where I talk about how I transitioned to tech. That video, so detailed. Go watch it if you're looking to transition into tech. It would help you. Now, that's what I would like to say is that here in the UK, there are some job titles that are not in your home country. And here in the UK, there are some job titles that are in your home country that are not in the UK. So if you fall into that category, in the sense that you can't easily find your job title here in the UK, then you have to do your research to know what that job is called. So let's just say, for instance, this is just an example. I'm not saying these job roles do not exist in Nigeria. So for instance, let's say you were a project manager in Nigeria, but here in the UK, they do have project management, but let's say they call it a different name. So you just need to know what your job title is called here in the UK. Do you get what I mean? So that's what I'm trying to say. Like, there are some job roles that have a different title back in Nigeria and they have a different title here in the UK, but they are the same jobs. It's just the title have just changed. To be fair, I cannot remember specific job titles, but I know this happens a lot. Like I've seen people who will say they can't find their job here in the UK. It's just that it's a different name. The job is here, it's just a different name. Please, if you know any example, put it in the comment section. Just might be helping someone understand what I'm trying to say. Now, moving on, networking is also key. So try to attend industry events, join professional groups, and network with other people on your field. You can even start from LinkedIn. Reach out to people on LinkedIn. People on LinkedIn are always very happy when you reach out to them. Reach out to them for reference. Reach out to them to tell you about what they do. Reach out to people. Just network with people. Just network with people to help you find a job quickly here. And trust me, having a referral would almost get you a job faster than if you don't when applying for some companies, especially in tech, I've noticed. Now, let's say, for example, you're trying to apply to a job in Google. I'm not saying this happens in Google. I'm just saying Google, for example. And you're trying to apply to Google as a product manager. Now, if you know a product manager in Google that can refer you to the job, trust me, the recruiter is most likely to see your CV than if that person did not refer you to the job. So do you get what I mean? So try to look for people who work in the company you would like to work in, network with them and ask them if they can refer you. And to be fair, some companies usually used to have referral bonus in the sense that if you refer someone and the person gets the job and they pass probation, they would give the person that referred you money, or they would compensate the person in one way or the other. A lot of companies have this scheme. To be fair, a lot of people would actually be willing to refer you to work in their company as long as they think you're qualified or you'll be a good fit for the job, because they will get compensation for it. And as long as they don't feel like you will spoil their rep or you make them lose their own job, they'll be very happy to provide you with a referral. Now, this is one of the most damaging mistakes some migrants make here in the UK. That's failing to secure the appropriate visas or work permits. Now, what you need to know is that UK has strict immigration laws, and being unaware or disregarding these regulations can lead to serious legal consequences, including deportation. For instance, let's say you're coming to the UK on a visitor's visa and then you decide to start working on a visitor's visa. You are already breaking the immigration law, which is wrong for those who are visiting the UK on a visit visa to work. If you want to work in the UK, just get the right visa. Get the global talent visa, the skilled worker visa, the skilled worker visa, the health and care worker visa. There are a whole lot of visas you can get to come work in the UK than trying to go through the back door. So to avoid this mistake, just ensure that you fully understand the visa requirements relevant to your situation before you move to the UK. Now, one thing we can all agree on when it comes to UK visas and immigration here in the UK is that the immigration laws or the visa rules are ever changing, ever evolving. So it'd be wise if you're a foreigner living here in the UK on a visa to regularly check for updates on immigration rules and renew your visa in advance before it expires. Mistake number 9 is not understanding how the healthcare system works here in the UK. To be fair, I do not blame people who make this mistake, because the UK's National Health Service, that is the NHS, can be a complex system for newcomers. Some foreign nationals here in the UK find it hard to register with a GP near them, that is a general practitioner near them, or they do not even know how to register with a general practitioner, or they do not even know that they need to register with a GP, because a GP is like the first point of contact when it comes to healthcare here in the UK that is non-emergency healthcare. Like, some people don't even know that. Or some people are even unsure of how to even access the services in general. Like, they are just lost. They just pay the IHS fee. Like, some people have never even used the NHS since they moved to the UK. So to avoid this mistake, just ensure that immediately you arrive to the UK, register with the local GP near your house and familiarize yourself with how the NHS works, including how to access emergency health care, dental service, how the prescription system here works in the UK. It will just help you navigate the system when you need it. So just familiarize yourself with how all of these things work. And she does know that here in the UK, in some countries, so for those who don't know, the UK comprises of Wales, Northern Ireland, Scotland, and England. For instance, in England, you have to pay for prescription, but I made a video recently and someone actually commented in the video that in Scotland, they do not pay for prescription in Scotland, and I didn't even know that. So just understand how this works. So for instance, if you are living in Scotland and then you move to the UK and you think, oh, I'm not going to pay for prescription, you'll be shocked that you have to pay for prescription when you move to England from Scotland, and we are all in the UK together. But different rules can apply when it comes to healthcare system, and here in the UK, we do have private healthcare, and some people would actually decide to go for private healthcare because it's just faster. Getting non-emergency treatment from private healthcare is just expensive, so you can actually look into getting private healthcare insurance, because the NHS can be slow at times. And when it comes to medication here in the UK, there are some medication that you can't buy on the counter. Like you dying and fainting in front of the pharmacist like this, the pharmacist is not going to sell it to you until you have like a doctor's prescription. So that's something you also need to bear in mind. So in case you have any medical underlying condition, I would say understand how the NHS system works once you move, so you'll be able to access healthcare when you need it. Mistake number 10 is language barriers. Now, language proficiency, that is knowing how to speak good English, is essential for integrating into British society. Some migrants here in the UK who do not prioritize learning English can find it challenging to secure employment, interact with the locals, and navigate everyday tasks because everybody is speaking English and you don't know how to speak English. How do you want to survive? So to avoid this mistake, enroll in English language classes as soon as possible. Practice speaking English regularly. You can even watch English TV, like English shows, engage with conversations with the native speakers. It can help you improve the use of your English language. Additionally, many local councils and community centers offer free or low-cost language courses where you can learn English. So check your local council if you need these services from them, because you're paying council tax, I would think, so you should be able to access this service if your council have things like this. Now you guys should engage me in the comment section. Tell me which mistakes you have made as a foreigner living in the UK and what you have learned from that error and how others can avoid making that same mistake you made. Now, mistake number 11 is centered around cultural misunderstanding. Now, the UK has a unique culture with specific social norms and customs. Some immigrants here in the UK who do not take the time to understand this can experience social isolation or conflicts in personal and professional settings, So you would want to learn about British customs, etiquette, and social norms to avoid this mistake. You should try to engage with the locals to learn, participate in community activities, and just be open to learn from a culture that is different from yours. Like there will always be cultural differences because you just moved to a new country. The way they do life here is different from how they do life where you're coming from. So just be open to learn. For instance, in the UK, British people love queuing. Like they take their queue religiously. Like if you jump the queue, you will not like yourself. They don't jump queues here in the UK. Everybody will line up until it reaches their turn. And saying please, thank you is seen as you being mannered, like you having good manners. So things like this, just learn so that you're not socially awkward and you're not always the odd one out when you go out, and that will not make you not want to go out. So please, let's avoid making this mistake. There's this saying that goes, when in Rome, you behave like the Romans. So basically, that's just it. Now, moving on, mistake number 12 is not seeking legal or financial advice when needed. You see, navigating the UK's legal and financial system can be complex. Whether it is setting up a business, applying for a visa, understanding tax obligations, or buying a property, not seeking professional advice can result in costly mistakes. So to avoid this mistake, when needed, just consult with a legal or financial advisor who specializes in helping migrants in the matter you need to resolve. So for instance, if you're buying a house and you need a solicitor or a mortgage broker, make sure you get a solicitor and a mortgage broker that understands how to work with a foreign national that is buying a property on a visa. Do you get what I mean? And at times, why some foreign nationals will not want to reach out to all these professionals because they think it's expensive to reach out to them. But you'll be surprised that there are some of these professionals that offer their services for free because they get commissions from when the deal goes through. So for instance, if you're buying a house in the UK with a mortgage, I need to do your mortgage application. You can actually get a mortgage broker to do it for you and look for the best mortgages for your personal circumstances. And when your mortgage application go through, the bank will pay the mortgage broker. And sure, they won't tell you, the bank will tell you straight up that they will pay a specific amount of money to the mortgage broker, and they will let you know how much you're going to give the mortgage broker because he brought the deal for them. So some of these services are actually for free. Getting professionals would actually guide you through the intricacies of UK laws and help you make more informed choices. So get professionals. Don't think about the money. Get professionals first, and whatever they are charging, then you cannot be thinking about the money, but always seek professional advice first. Very important. Now we are almost getting to the end of the video. So mistake number 13 is over-reliance on ethnic communities. So what I mean by this is that while it is comforting to connect with people from your own ethnic background, relying too heavily on this community can limit your opportunity to integrate into the community. So to avoid this, make deliberate effort to build relationship with people from diverse backgrounds while still maintaining connection with your ethnic community. Now, I'm not saying you should not make friends or mix with people from your ethnicity. No, you need to do that. In short, you need it. That's like the core of your community here in the UK. But also try to go out of your ethnicity to also meet people, move out of your comfort zone. Like they say, you are in Rome, you behave like the Romans. You see, building a relationship with people from a different ethnic background other from yours will enhance your language skills and even broaden your social and professional network and broaden the way you think and the way you see life here in the UK. Mistake number 14 is failure to plan for long-term residency or citizenship. I think this ties back to point number 1. Now, many immigrants here in the UK do not fully understand the requirements or process for obtaining permanent residency or citizenship, which can jeopardize their long-term status here in the UK. So to avoid this mistake, research the requirement for permanent residency and citizenship early on. Like once you move to the UK and you know that you would like to be a British citizen, start researching for it. Even start speaking to people about it. There's no shame. I used to say it, I want to be a British citizen, I want to have a British passport. Like, I'm not shameful about it. It's a big goal of mine. It's something I desire and I'm working towards it. Keep record of your time in the UK, including employment, residency, and any legal matters, as this will be important when it comes to applying for your indefinite leave to remain here in the UK or your citizenship. So try to keep records of your life history in the UK as you do your life here in the UK. Mistake number 15 is ignoring your financial responsibilities when you move to the UK. Now, when you move to the UK, you will need money to live here. So not setting up a UK bank account, neglecting to build your credit history, or failing to understand the UK tax system might have long-term financial consequences. Now, to avoid this mistake, open a bank account as soon as possible. I do have a video on the channel that can help you do that. I'll link that video to this video. The video just talks about how to open a bank account here in the UK. Pay your bills on time and file for your taxes correctly. Also, you would want to look into building a good credit history here in the UK because it can be beneficial for future financial transactions like renting a house or even applying for a mortgage. Now, I have a video on that. I'll link it to this video for those who are looking to build their credit score here in the UK. Now, if you stay to this point of this video, you're an OG. Thumbs up to you because I know this video is going to be long. The last but not the least mistake is not registering with the local authorities. Now, failing to register with local authorities for services like voting and council tax can cause legal and financial issues for you. So once you move to the UK and you start renting, or maybe you bought a property, immediately you move, whichever one, either you're renting or you bought, once you move, just register with your local council so that you'll be able to pay your council tax and you'll be able to vote too. So just register with your local council to avoid this mistake. You see, registering with your local council will ensure you receive important information, you can pay your council tax on time, and you are eligible for local services and you're able to access the local services your council would provide. Like when I mentioned earlier in the video, like some council will provide free English classes or maybe English classes at a low cost, like services like that you can easily access if you're registered with your local council. You're paying your council tax and you're doing everything the council needs you to do. In conclusion, avoiding these common mistakes requires careful planning, research, and a proactive approach to adapting to life here in the UK. I do hope that by understanding and addressing these potential pitfalls, you can better position yourself for a successful and fulfilling experience in making the UK your new home. Now, if you find this video helpful, check out my other video on why people leave the UK and share your thoughts in the comments below.